telco strategies I see emerging in relation to Wi-Fi offload, well, they vary a lot depending if you talk about mobile operators or other types of operators. Obviously, here we're focused very much on the MNOs, and I think they're making a significant transition at the moment from simple offload, which is largely a cost-saving measure for them, so that to reduce the amount they have to invest in licensed spectrum and capacity. I think they are now starting to think of more perhaps creative ways to introduce Wi-Fi into the heart of their networks, into what we like to call HETnet, I guess. Certainly managing Wi-Fi from a common core and trying to look at a seamless experience for the users. But I think it's worth mentioning some of the other types of telcos as well. Fixed line, converged and cable operators in some ways have greater freedom to use Wi-Fi in even more disruptive ways because they don't have the conflicts of interest with their own wireless that they've built for so many years. So I think we'll see many models, and some of those will drive innovation and competition between different types of providers. But I think the key trend is offload is key at the moment, but it's shifting towards something that will add value and add revenue rather than purely save cost and add efficiency. I do envisage integrated networks having quite a profound impact on mobile operator economics over the next few years. Certainly as a starting point, Wi-Fi is allowing them to bring quite a substantial amount of spectrum into their networks. As we know, there's a big race for spectrum. Wi-Fi spectrum is largely free. It brings its challenges, but just sheer capacity at a low cost is something operators have never been able to think about before. But I think their next stage is to look at the economics in terms of can they either generate greater value from their 3G and LTE networks by perhaps putting certain types of services on those and putting the others on Wi-Fi. And we are seeing some mobile operators thinking about Wi-Fi first for certain types of customers. But also, given that they will have significantly more capacity and it will become something of a seamless pool of capacity as the tools improve, the device tools and the network tools, to make this network behave as one, they will be able to think about new services that really need vast amounts of capacity and spectrum, which just wasn't available to them before. And perhaps so almost some of the services that we see fibre providers offering, it may be viable at last to run those on a wireless network and therefore charge extra fees for those. My takeaway from the workshop today would be that we are on quite a rapid path of development in terms of carrier Wi-Fi, from simple offload to really quite complicated business models, where sometimes Wi-Fi is taking the lead rather than being a junior partner. And I think that's a significant change even since last year's MWC, when carrier Wi-Fi was definitely a theme, but it was very much an offload. It was a useful tool for the operators. So the workshop has really given me, I think, a lot of insights into how the pace of change is accelerating and how the richness of experience that is possible from Wi-Fi is being enabled gradually. That does relate to what I would take away from Mobile World Congress as a whole in terms of, I suppose, the overriding theme this year is how to combine as many different types of network and spectrum and user interface into a common seamless experience that the user likes but doesn't kind of need to know what the details are, doesn't need to make any choices. So I think that's an important takeaway. It's not a new idea, but it's something that I think is being talked about as something that is achievable this year rather than a distant goal. And looking further out, because MWC always must do that too, loads and loads of talk about 5G, some of which is just pure fun, but I suppose relevant to what we're talking about. One of the things we do know about so-called 5G is that it will include many different technologies, many spectrum bands from the lowest to the highest. So really building on what we're talking about today and taking it out into a genuine HETnet, and that's 2020, but it's not so long away, and operators are certainly starting to think about it. And at that point, I think Wi-Fi is just part of the picture, and we've almost forgotten that it was ever a separate technology.